Hey everybody, Old Man Sugarheart here. We're playing more Sovereign Syndicate. Last thing that happened was we fought with the police who was arresting one of my daytime prostitute friends. It didn't go well. She's going to jail for a long time. But I'm actually kind of curious if we got her murdered. Like, so, you know, people are out there going around murdering prostitutes because that's how Victorian London do. And what if the police are fetching them for experiments, is what I'm wondering. Anyway, if we would have got her off the hook, maybe we could have saved her life. I don't know. We'll see if she's dead soon enough. If she dies, if she's the next victim, it makes me think the police are involved. But right now, we gotta fetch the morning after pills for Beatrix. Because she's kind of a floozy. Chemist combs his fingers through the wispy hair atop his pate. There's a clinical luster to his brass-knuckled apron, rubber gloves, and adjustable monogoggles. He seems more dressed for dissection than the measurement of pills. Good day, how can I assist you? Might you have this in stock? After skimming the note, he peers up at me, then back to the note, then flips it over to see if there's anything written on the backside. Whatever silent conversation this man is having with himself, it would be nice to be included. I need to grab a couple things from the back along with this. Be just a moment. From the other room, there's the sound of rummaging, careful rummaging, as if he's trying to make as little noise as possible. 2 minutes gone by, he's taking his time back there. Is he speaking to himself? He has a police telegraph lurking in the back room. He might be peaching on me. Though advertisements for such concoctions are abundant, these pills are not technically above board. It wouldn't do for some choleric copper to get in their head to pay Madame Zora a visit. Weary or better. Perhaps I should poke around the back room while I have a chance. See if I can pinch something useful. Let's see. How far back here is he? First thing that hits me is the piercing, sterile vapor. The scent of methanol is easy to pin down, or it burns my nose like the snort of Uncle Parker. Slang for cocaine. Okay. Still, there are other chemicals in the air that I cannot identify. Well, this brings back some memories. Is he fermenting his own taplash? Polymath. While I suspect distilling involves a component of chemistry, smells more like disinfectants. His nose hairs must be absolutely singed if he's used to this. So much for the times of famine. Even in this obscure darkness, I can make out several cabinets. But do they even contain apothecary wares? And where exactly has Gray gone? He seems to have utterly disappeared. Oh, we're gonna forge ahead. I'd best be swift about it. Tipped over bottle. Working open the drawer as quietly as possible, I extract a single bottle, strong sedative, or a light mood lifter, depending on the dose. Label reads, Dr. Nightcap's Liquid Laudanum. Yeah, we're gonna steal that. Perhaps I should keep this. Unconsciousness proves a fine cure for siege sickness. Bizarre formulations of herbal and pharmaceutical sanitives. The shelf is free of labels, save for some chalk marks the proprietor alone must understand. Scan his supplies. Critical failure. I need to make sure I choose something that works. What did that damn chemist note say? Oil of what? By the bloody saints, I can't remember. I can't stay back here hemming and hawing. Mr. Gray could return at any moment. Good thing I didn't spend much time back there. It's time to face the music. I can hear him coming back. I apologize for the long wait. It appears I'm low on stock and out of twine. I suppose a substitute will suffice. He sets down a container of silk sutures, wrapping paper, and the bottle itself. Label it reads Saxon's English Female Pills. He wraps up the medicine with compulsive precision, using a magnifier on it in his mono goggle to make sure the corners are folded ever so neatly. It's quite all right. In truth, I should be the one apologizing. He'd go in there and steal some ether. For assuming you were splitting me over the pills and how I might have considered pinching half your shop in retaliation. It's nothing. He retrieves some shears from his apron's pocket and cuts the parallel lines of silk thread. Nature is fascinating, is it not? The waste material of a worm's cocoons produces the most sturdy and sterile medical sutures known to man. I read once that 10 cocoons barely produce enough thread to wrap around half a bobbin. It would explain the prohibitive cost and its proliferation only among the surgeons. There we are. Though I'm sure my bow ties could use some work, I've tried to make it look as innocuous as possible, like a candy gift package. What are my good skills again? Grace, somehow. Okay. Not the first time you've done this for a female customer in need. It's not part of my job to pass judgment on my customers. She could say the same. Besides, this is the best obstacle I can provide if you get heckled by a bobby. I know of you quite well, Miss Reed, but I won't tell anyone you pay to visit. I wager there's a market for women's unmentionables, and it's good that he's looking out for his customers. Mr. Gray opens his mouth to speak again, but is interrupted by a voice outside the shop. And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and wast and shall be, because thou hast judged thus. It's that notorious preacher pacing in the square. Speaking of judgment, for they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them the blood to drink, for they are worthy. What are your thoughts on the preacher? To most, he's a harmless nuisance, but I find his presence quite fortuitous. His sermons give his audience migraines, sending them running to my shop. How dastardly. Does this come with added benefit of being immune to migraines as well? Tragically, no, I can feel one coming on right now. I'd best be going. Thank you again. Alright, now we just gotta get back to base before the police get us. It's not dawdle. I ain't trying to go to jail. Is he coming towards? Hold there. Give me a moment, if you will, mademoiselle. Some questions for you, if you don't mind. The man in front of you is a centaur, not young, though he's still noticeably spry. The deep lines and old scars in his face speak of a life of work, though his clothes are pristine and sharply pressed. It's said that 2/3 of London centaurs find themselves in Scotland Yard or else serving the Queen and country among the troops. This curious man is likely a plainclothes officer. Trouble in a starched suit. Intellect is better than tact, but still not pretty good. Dreadfully busy today. Apologies, but I must be off. You have my assurance that this will only take a moment. I wouldn't wish to keep you from your obligations. He meaningfully eyes the reticule strapped to my belt. Has he been following me since Gray's? Quite unlikely, but all the same. These pills are not illegal, though tin ribs oft forget that fact when it serves them. Either way, it's best not to give them an excuse to take further interest in Madame Zora's affairs. I suppose I can spare a moment. Assuming that this is but a moment, Mr. Yves Chalamet Duval, mademoiselle. Boy, I hope I pronounced that right. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm grateful for your understanding. I promise I won't take too much of your time. Might you have seen any strange patrons lingering in the area of late? Stranger than usual, that is. Rose takes its discretion of its clientele quite seriously. There's a number of things he might be after. I'm afraid I've witnessed only the usual gamblers and gin soaks, sir. Is that right? Well, it's duly noted. One more thing. Quick as you please, have you had an opinion on this courtesan killer the papers have been covering? Only what the papers have printed. I have a bit more info than that, but I'm not free to list a variable who's who of the Madam's regiment of workers. Then he saw it off the street. It's vengeful. Demand what information he has about the killer. And what about you, Huntabout? What do you know about the killer? I've shared with you. Perhaps you could return the favor and share those most affected by this case? I suppose that's only fair. Well, he's surprisingly cooperative. Does this vial mean anything to you, mademoiselle? He reaches into his inner breast pocket and produces a labeled medicine bottle. This was found on the body of a victim I believe to be related to the case. Gordon Gray's patent panacea for men. Guaranteed to cure impotence, baldness, aggressive personality, humor imbalance, and afflictions of the blood. My, is there anything it doesn't cure? I'm familiar with the apothecary that sells it, but short of that, I'm afraid not. This tincture was taken from the body of a dolly mop by the name of Casey Logray. Not a name that papers picked up on. Would seem not. He was found last month. Only 2 days after Miss Lind, another victim, was butchered on Knock Street. His body was in much the same state as hers. Well, it's not just we ladies of the night being targeted, but our brothers in the profession as well. Perhaps, or perhaps it is not dollies in the particular being targeted at all. You might be right. I was unfamiliar with most of the names surrounding this case. Few of them were dollies I knew to be working on the streets. Could simply be that they were working girls I did not know, but it did strike me as odd. The papers have been known to embellish this story. Was that all? That it was, mademoiselle. My thanks for humoring an old nag. Safe passage to you. And to you, sir. Great. Now the Met's likely on my tail. London just keeps on giving. All the more reason to leave this town behind and never look back. I say. Wondering, like, maybe people just out at night are getting murdered. They are like werewolf type murders, you know? Alright. I need to get these pills to where they're going. Out of my hands would feel the safest, you know? Here, Beatrix, chug this. There you are, Clara. Mercy's sakes, it took your time. But never mind that. You have the physics right. Well, give 'em here. As ordered, straight from Gordon Gray's. As I hand her the preferred item, her demeanor shifts. The stress she thus far carried eases. She may play at being disaffected, but seems even the rose's shiny star can work herself into a worry every now and then. Thanks so much, Clara. I'll be sure to let Madam know that they were delivered post-haste, if I happen upon her first. Oh, there's Madam. How you doing, Madam? Clara, I always breathe a sigh of relief when I see you safe and hale. What with all the goings-on, did Beatrix get her parcel? The one that, to prevent her ending up with another little parcel? Yeah. She might be somewhat nauseous for a day or two, but all will be well. Zora's eyes light up at the news, and for a few moments, the decade seemed to evaporate from her worried face. Well, thank heavens for that. I really must deal more strictly with ne'er-do-wells like Mr. Sykes. Agreed. Something in the order of corporal punishment would be appropriate. That's the kind of lesson a man does not forget. Zora's eyes seemed to go cold for an instant. Ha! It's a rather bloodthirsty jest for you, my dear. Of course, some of our clients pay quite a premium for such treatment. I'm not sure it would work. Shoot. I forgot about the candies. I hate to say this, but I didn't have time to fetch the candies for you. Oh, hardly a concern. Besides, it's hard for me to indulge in such luxuries when work's unendingly keeping you busy. Well, I suppose I'll be off now, Madam Zora. Take good care, my dear. Shoot. Surely those candies were the key to saving us all. What's a buxom lady like yourself? Oh, Clara, my duck, it's you. Indeed it is. Were you about earlier? Madam Zora is right steamed today on account of Mr. Sykes. I saw. House rules are important, of course, but her outbursts seemed a titch harsh. In the past, she's warned the clients prior to a proper ban. Shame about old Sykes. I've had him a few times. He seemed nice enough. Beatrix says much the same. Aye, he's a right softy, apparently. You treat him right. Perhaps Madame Zora simply does not like him. Suppose Sykes will be back before too long. It was nice chatting, Lou. Well, back to work with us then. I love a good chin wag me, but it doesn't put coin in my pocket. Be seeing you, Clara. I also like a good chin wag. I want to know what happened with the reporter. Anything cool in the wardrobe? Most brothels in town have worse living conditions. A madam ensuring the cleanliness of living quarters is a luxury not every working girl can afford. It's true. Let's see, is there anything we can do before we go talk to Clem? I mean, I did see a few people around here. Like Calvin. Ah, my imperious neighbor, my connatural cohort, who endures alongside me in that house of beautiful vice and misery. I knew you long before either of us took up in the bell jar, Calvin dear. Cannot a man wax poetic on his lot in life? Don't tell me. Even you have turned into a sycophant, my noble adversary, Miss Clara Reed. What a shame. How many drinks in are you, Calvin? It's a titch early to be chasing the green fairy, is it not? I'm not inebriated, Clara. Merely miserable. Yeah, let's roll on a 32% chance. Calvin, dear, I haven't the time for a proffer chaff, I'm afraid. But might I at least ask why? Yeah. Whatever's the point, my gifts, my virtues are anathema to success. Name for me one great artist who found themselves content with their lot. Simply leave me to my drink, resign me to the murk and tribulations of my self-made hell. That's what you prefer. Ah, and if you're feeling kind, you inform Sorry that there is quite an awful draft in the halls. Atrociously chilly in my room last night. I'll loan you my quilt, garish thing covered in cute little blue bonnets that make a client procured for me at the market. Terribly kind of you, Clara. Perhaps I'll take you up on that. Be well, Calvin. Blech. And you. Feeling awfully stuttery today. I half expected our drunk minotaur friend to be here. Oh, here's Jemmy. Jimmy Betteredge. What is Molly's hatchet man doing here at this hour? Good day, Mr. Betteredge. Miss Reed, is there something we're meant to discuss? Slimy bugger, just speaking with him makes my flesh crawl. As I'm sure you're aware, several courtesans have gone missing in recent weeks, and I wondered if you might have some insight. Critical success. I know their bodies were brutalized, and it seems by someone with more than human strength. Now I'm a busy minotaur, if you don't mind. Off to poison someone's dog, no doubt. Leave this oaf to his devices. It's been a pleasure, as always, but I must get on. Is that a growl? Lefty. Have I talked to him yet? The inimitable Lefty Brone, gambler, thief, and somehow a class act, all at the same time. Have you been? I haven't seen your name on the papers lately. I take it no news is good news, as they say. Aye, so it is. And it's quite the trick to keep it like that. Sorry, like, the picture threw me off. I was like, that was not the guy's face I was picturing. Oh? Every time some bloody fishwife loses her bridal ring, it gets blamed on me, on its premier jewel thief. Which is great for caging drinks on a Saturday night, but nay so great when you're dealing with the law. What do you... Oh. Okay, so Lefty is a girl. I can't... I just can't even. Ask her what she thinks about the courtesan killer. I've been sniffing around this courtesan killer case. I have a personal interest, as a courtesan. As you can imagine, what do you make of it? Could be either Jimmy or Jimmy or Beast is what I've heard. I tangled with something similar in Prague, you can. Would have been a victim number 4 if I hadn't been sleeping with one eye open. I owed a very unpleasant fella a rather large pile of coin. I was expecting trouble. What happened? This particular scoundrel favored a boning knife for his hobby and twigged his shadow passing the lamp I'd left guttering and rolled off the kip before he could slash me open. Kip? Bet. And you got away? I skipped out over the balcony, second floor. Nay, a problem for yours truly, but he hadn't the brass to follow. But that encounter was too close to joke about. Was the killer captured? All I can say is nay by me. I hopped on a tramp steamer that very night. Think you'd like to pitch in and help me nab this maniac? If we wait for Scotland Yard, there won't be a Londoner left safe here in Braxton County. Nay, ta. My dear. The one time was as close as I'd ever want to get to being mutton. Best of luck, though. Love to see your name in the headlines for that. Worth a try, but Lefty's not known for getting mixed up in trouble she didn't start herself. Alright, goodbye. I'm glad I ran into you, Lefty. Take care of yourself. That's one thing you can always count on, lass. Bye now. Woodcuts. Yeah, I like a good woodcut. An impossibly voluptuous woman, clad in torn form-hugging nightgown, reclines upon something resembled an outsized church pew. From inside her painted mouth, the tips of her canine teeth suggest a lurking danger. Not exactly subtle, the way it implies that werewolves are uncontrolled beasts, though there's certainly an equally unsubtle idolization occurring here. It'd be lying were I to pretend I have no empathy for the artist. A prurient carving meant to stimulate the baser desires. Well, this certainly is the place for it, at least. About the Police Gazette. Broadside was abandoned at the bar. Read the report. Murderer still at large, and during the recent slaughter at Connaught Street, the body turned up in a back alley, torn to pieces. Could be behind the bloodshed. Scotland Yard has doubled down its forces to catch the killer. So as of this day's writing, it claims that only ladies of the night have been targeted. But to be safe, all women are discouraged from being out of doors after sunset. Troubling times. Let's hope there's something I can do. Something I can do, Clem. Afternoon, Clara. Hear about what's happening nowadays? Are the fates to claim buy into that fear-mongering too? Horrible things. I worry for you and your workers upstairs. You seen what the latest papers are saying about this courtesan killer? Yeah, I've seen him. Hard not to, I imagine. These killings are part of London that I'll be happy to leave behind. A mad punter, you think? Or is it something more shadowy than that? Could be some hoity-toity taking him out. What got too close? Must admit, it's a fear I'm not unfamiliar with. Another reason to ensure one has a network. That one is a person who will be missed. Things were much simpler in the days I ran with Molly O'Malley and her lot. You see that gossip monger lingering about earlier? Not the first time I've seen her around here. And speaking just between us girls, my duck, she hasn't sampled the wares upstairs any of the time she's been. He's only after clients' personal details, one would assume. At least not as far as I've seen, but what does old Clem know? On to brighter things. Ready for that dram? Is there something I want to do before this? Nah, let's do it. Let's have it then. I've no more to do until the performance. Hear, hear, Dove. Good company, not exceptionally foul spirits, and the rest of our lives out in front of us, eh? Here's to London. To London town, and many more to come. To London town and a fresh start far away from it.